Okay, we are live. According to this, we are live. It looks like I have volume. So let's see how long I can do this without my my glasses on. If I move about that far away, the chat is almost in focus. And who do I see? Hello, David Andrews and Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse and David Sharp and Bubble Wrap Memories. Hello, JoeFan84 and Lester and Wilkinson Studios and WWJD85 and Matt. And hello, Marianne. How do you do? Thank you for being here, Marianne. We have lots to talk about. Hello, Terrence and Jeffrey and Ratface. How do you do? I can see the names fairly well because they're bolder than the actual type. But I can't read what you're saying too well. Let's see how far I can get before I have to resort to the Professor Grandpa glasses. But I see Firefly and Chris and another Matt. How do you do? Hello, Exploriso and Bart. Hey, Bart, nice to see you. Hey, Joe Motion Videos 82. Hey, Byron is in the house. Nice to see you, Byron. Hello. Okay, yeah, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't see. Hello, Keldon and Pete and Dale and Stonegate Creations. Well, what a week. Lester says, I look very rested. I'm somewhat rested. Thank you. And I am working on the next video. I've made some progress with that. Hello, James. Hello, Low One Bo 2. Yes, the Professor Grandpa glasses have made their appearance. Hello, Michael. Nice to see you. And David. They're not Grandpa glasses. Maybe that's open to interpretation. Hello, Chris. So yes, yeah, spectacles. Spectacles, testicles. Joe Fan, thank you for the super chat. Mr. S sent you a package on Saturday. Oh, thank you, Mr. S. Thank you very much. That reminds me, I do need to go around and check the P.O. box. I have not done that yet this week. It's Tuesday. I don't need to tell you that, but I haven't actually gone to check the P.O. box in a minute, so thank you for the reminder, and thank you for the package. Thank you, Mr. S, and thank you for the reminder. Hello, Robbie Rosari. The glasses need to be lower on my nose. How's that? See, so I've got that for long range and that for close range. I think that works. Yes, we got to head to the post office. That's correct. Yes. See, I have Marianne is a big help. It's a great help. Hey, it's Chaplain's Assistance Motorpod. Nice to see you, Chaplain's Assistance Motorpod. Really cool to see you in here. And White Vegeta, how do you do? Before I get too far into it, I did want to say that normally after the show, there is an episode of What's on Joe Mind. They will be taking this evening off. They have a family event. They had a family member pass, so my condolences to them. And I hope everybody I hope the family is okay, and I wish the best for both of you. But understandable that you would take an evening off. But I look forward to having you guys back again in the future. WWJD85 Tim reviewed Keel Hall today on Half the Battle. That is true. Hello Sparkster. Hello Sparkster. Thank you for being here. Yeah, that was actually the next thing on my agenda. It was to remind everybody that it is Tuesday. Thank you. Hey, it's Peg. Hello, Peg Warmers. Yes, I did get my shirt. I got my shirt. It fits. Today is Tuesday. That means there is a new episode of Half the Battle with Timmer, and this time he looked at Keel Hall, the famous Keel Hall, the figure that came with the USS flag and was reissued as a carded figure in the 90s. So 80s Joe fans might not be familiar with the 90s Keel Hall, but there was one. I'll say hi to Timmer. Will do. Hello, Brian Lewis. Nice to see you. Yeah, it's nice. I got to talk with Peg Warmers recently, so I'm doing a thing. I'm doing a thing for Cobra Convergence 7. You'll see it when it comes out. Okay, you'll see it when it comes out. I don't want to spoil anything. Before we moved off of Timmer, though, I wanted to remind everybody that his main character May is coming up. It's almost May, so he does a main character through the month of May. So I don't know what it's going to be or who it's going to be. So that'll be something to look forward to. Hello, McLuitierg. Good evening to you. What else? So I covered what's on Joe Mind. Condolences, and I hope to see you guys back soon. Mentioned Timmer. I will be on Articulated Chad's show on Sunday, live on Sunday evening. There is actually the links for all of these are in the description of this video. So if you need any of the links, they're already there. Hello, Christian Bricks. Hello from Denmark. Hello, Denmark from the United States. Christian, I believe that you sent me a message, but I haven't had a chance to reply yet. I apologize for that. Things have been a little chaotic. Hey, Comic Tropes. Hello, Chris from Comic Tropes. It's always a pleasure to have Chris here. Chris is an excellent friend. I hope you're doing well, Chris. I hope you're doing well. Hey, it's Rob Vegas. The Australian contingent is present. He says, "G'day, everyone." That's some kind of Australian language thing. I don't know. It's not sure what that means. Never heard that expression before. But I hope it's something good. G'day, right back to you. Double good day on you. But thanks for being here. Hello, Skyfall. So yes, I'll be live on Articulated Chad. And before we okay, wow, I can't talk. Since What's on Joe Mind is not doing a show tonight, I might go a little longer than usual. But I don't think I have quite the energy to go like a whole extra hour. I don't think I have quite that much in me. But the cats never stay out of trouble. I don't even know where my cat is right now, but he's probably in trouble. So but like I do have Gung Ho. So we'll try to open Gung Ho. The classified figure. I'd like to get this thing open because, I do want to do a compare and contrast with the earlier classified figures. So we'll try to open that before the end of the show. I also have this Duke that was sent by Diosoft, so I'd really like to check that out too. In fact, I even got my vintage Duke out to compare and contrast with this modern O-ring Duke. So those are things to look forward to. Let's see. If they cancel a show, is it called What's Not on Joe Mind? Yes, I think that's they have to officially change the title. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. I'm glad that you liked the logo. I did the best I could. I patched that together myself. I think it turned out all right. It seems pretty sharp. What was I going to say? Oh yes. So last week we talked about the possibility that I might start a GoFundMe to fund the trip to JOEFEST. I have reluctantly done so. The link for that is also in the description of this video. I have set it up for half of the amount that was asked for last year. I'm trying to not need that much this time. Hello, JLS Comics. Nice to see you, JLS Comics. Always nice to see you there. And thank you, Chaplain's Assistance Motorpod, who will catch the replay. Well, but thanks for being here while you could be here. Hello, Gray Fox. Hello, Bob's Dungeon. Got a Gung Ho last week at Target for on clearance for $7. That's interesting. Because here, it's hard to find a Gung Ho, but it's easy to find a Lady J. They should put the Lady J's on clearance. Hello, Bioborg. Nice to see you. Moderns have O-rings too. Yes, there's a modern O-ring Duke. We'll try to check that out a little bit later. But in the meantime, so listen here. Reluctantly, I have started a GoFundMe to get to JOEFEST. These things are voluntary, but what I am going to try to do this year, and that I wasn't able to do last year, is I'm going to try to do, not going to try, I'm going to do a whole full travelogue video of the trip and the event. That's something that I've done before, but when I did it before, I had some help doing it. And this year I'm going to have some help as well. Marianne has said that she would help make that video, help me do what is needed to do for that video. So we will do an actual JOEFEST video that will hopefully give you the experience of the event if you're not able to be there. Or if you are able to be there, maybe it will give you some nostalgic memories when you rewatch it. Also, Marianne said that she would appear on camera. Briefly, she said she's kind of camera shy. She doesn't do the cameras too much, but she said she would appear on camera briefly. She also said she would be fully clothed. We discussed this, but what the clothing option was just thrown right out the window. So fully clothed Marianne on screen, at least for a couple seconds, we think. So yes, road trip video. That is that's the plan. Please feel free to support that if you want to. Please don't forget the others who are trying to get to JOEFEST, including Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse, Zazel, who is trying to get there from Australia. So make sure you check out everybody else's GoFundMe as well to make sure that everybody can get there. This is our opportunity to get together in person. Not just a virtual event, but actually in person. And for me, at least, that's kind of an important thing. I really enjoy making those connections and actually seeing everybody and hanging out with everybody. It's important, and we don't get to do it very often. Once, maybe twice a year for some of us. So I think that it's important to do. So we will start talking more. Hello, Draws. Thanks for being here, Draws. Cyclonus is going to JOEFEST. Well, thank you for the segue, Cyclonus, because I was just going to say that we will start talking more about JOEFEST as it gets closer, because I want to try to get together with everybody there. I want to make sure that we all have a chance to meet up, and I want to say hello to you folks. I want to see friends that I've met before, but I also want to meet new friends and new people. So, Christian says, wait, she'll be fully clothed for a few seconds, or she'll be on screen for a few seconds. Tune in to find out. I'll just leave that. I'll just leave that for you to guess. That'll be the teaser. That'll be the teaser. You know, to find out which it will be. Good question, though. Good question. Pizza party. Bart says JOEFEST pizza party, but they really do have a pretty good pizza joint out there. They got good pizza in Augusta. We know where to go for pizza. What's JOEFEST like compared to JoeCon? Well, JoeCon was definitely more G.I. Joe focused, but I mean, JOEFEST has a lot of G.I. Joe focus as well. Hey, Cujo. Nice to see you, Cujo. Always happy to see Cujo in here. But JOEFEST also has a lot of, like, other non-Joe stuff. Some comic book and wrestling and other things like that. I don't know. JoeCon varied quite a bit in attendance and size. Some were much bigger, some were smaller. And JOEFEST, as it is now, is about the average of about the average JoeCon, at least the ones that I went to. I'd say that's about that size, at least for attendance. But they've got a good dealer floor. Marianne hasn't even thought about cosplaying. We'll think of something. I'm sure that there are options for cosplay. Not the Baroness. Everybody does the Baroness. We need to do something other than the Baroness. We got to be more creative than that. More creative. I've got it. Marianne, cosplay quick kick. Marianne, cosplay quick kick. I think this will be. That's it. That's perfect. It's a great idea. Also, that'll make the video more popular. Cujo is in the house. JoeCon had different attendance because it kept moving venues. To some degree, Matt, yes, that's correct. JOEFEST is in Augusta. That's where they have it every year, because that's where Ed lives. So that's where he does it. Zarana. Yes, there is an artist alley. But yeah, JoeCon was a traveling convention, which has its pluses and minuses. It has its pros and cons. On the one hand, you get to go to a different vacation destination each year. There's some variety, and that's a great thing. But some of those destinations, not everybody can make it to. So yeah, it can be a little uneven. It can be a little uneven. But it's a trade-off, right? It's a trade-off. You have the reliability of a single location each year with JOEFEST, which does make it easier for some folks if you just know where you're going to go, just being able to experience different things and new places, and that's also fun. That's true. See, Bubble Wrap Memories is absolutely correct. Augusta, it rarely snows, and I'm pretty sure it never snows in the summer. So you could be barefoot, quick kick. Absolutely. Dr. Mindbender, another good option. Dr. Mindbender. I think I like how we're brainstorming here. I like how we're coming up with cosplay ideas. This is great. See, this is why this weekly collaboration that we do, this weekly gathering, is so vital. We come up with the best idea. Excuse me. Pegwarmer says traveling shows sometimes come closer to home. That is true. Some people can come once every 5 years or so. That's an excellent point. So if it's a traveling show, at least there's an opportunity that it might be in your region. So that's that. For if you can't travel far, that's a benefit. That means you can go. But for instance, like when they did it in Florida, I mean, I loved Florida. I loved the Orlando show. That was a lot of fun. I met Ron Rudat for the first time there. I met Larry Hama for the first time there. But it's Florida. And so like somebody from like Washington State is it's gonna be more difficult to get like all the way down to the other diagonal of the country. So it's like, that's really far. If you can't travel far or you don't have the time, then that's probably a no-go. But you know, if you haven't been able to go and you hear that, JOEFEST is in your state, you might be able to go where otherwise you might not be able to. Lady J is awesome. You know what? I was supposed to get water. I want to make sure that my throat doesn't dry out as I'm talking to you folks. Any prominent women involved in G.I. Joe's creation at Hasbro? I know that there were women involved at Hasbro. I don't know how deeply they were involved in G.I. Joe's creation. I think they were more so in the 60s. I think there were more women more directly involved in the 1960s, in like the early G.I. Joe. That's a fair That's a fair question. That's a fair question. You know what? I think that's a good question for Ron Rudat or Kirk Bozikian. They would know. They would know. Let's see. Emily. Yes, they have Emily. Now we have Emily. So that's a current person. GoFundMe's for some water. Yeah, I do need some water. I will step away just for a moment because I do need to get some water because I would rather not cough all over your microphone. Marianne goes snake eyes. Yeah, then she can't talk. Then at least then she'll finally shut up. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Hello, Toy Connections, JOEFEST, and HCC7. That's right, they're coming up. Hey, it's codename Newtuvera 2. I'm glad I checked before. I was just about to go get some water, but fortunately I checked to see you guys come in. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Hang on. Wait right here. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. I will return. Hold on. Don't nobody go nowhere. Don't leave. Anyone who leaves gets an extra homework assignment. And I'm back. So it is in fact, well, let's see. Yes. That water is wet. But yeah, hello, Mike. How do you do? Hello, Dave Brown. See if I can hold my water. I don't drink alcohol anymore, so this is as strong as it gets. Toy Connections would like to contact JLS Comics. I can't blame you. Hello, Joe A.T. Nice to see you. Why JOEFEST over Joe Lanta? I have a closer association with the organizer of JOEFEST, and so I have now I have a tradition of going there. I mean, that's become the place where I can reliably see the folks that I want to see. That we gather there. So that's usually, I mean, that's it. That's the reason. I would like to check out Joe Lanta, at some point, but I'm limited in how much travel I can do every year. So I have to choose. Yeah, Marianne's looking forward to the trip. So am I. This is going to be our longest trip together by far. And Marianne's first JOEFEST. And by the way, Marianne and I celebrated 6 months together, a 6-month relationship on Friday. So it's going well. She hasn't kicked me out yet, so that's hopeful. Yeah, somebody asked about yeah, actually I do know how to sneak into the loading dock if I had to. Codename Newtuvera 2 says we hope that Form BX 257 is okay and doing well. I certainly do. But nobody's heard from him. Nobody's heard from him at all, and so I hope he's all right. I just hope he's all right. Has Michael Bell stopped doing conventions? I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't seen him announced for anything recently, so maybe he at least took a break or something. I don't know. And yes, I'm doing a video. Who asked about a video? Yes, I'm doing a video. That's part of the plan. That's the GoFundMe, which I have very reluctantly started, will ensure a video for the convention that goes along with it. So that's something that I wanted to do last year. Last year was just so chaotic. I had the table. I was trying to stay at the table. as much as I could, but then I also was trying to make it to the panels and see people and talk to people. So I ended up not getting as much footage last year as I wanted to, but I didn't really have any help. I had my kid with me. I love having my kid with me, but she didn't want to, help. So I was having to do stuff by myself, and that's difficult. It's difficult. However, this time, we've got I have an assistant. So this is you've just hit on it. The whole reason that I got in a dating type relationship in the first place was to have an assistant, a free assistant. That's it. That's the whole reason that anybody gets in a relationship, is to have a free assistant. And by free, I mean really expensive, a really expensive assistant that you take out on dates and go to restaurants and stuff. So free, a free assistant. That's the connection. That's my Hoodie's relationship advice. This is what you want to pay attention to. Gentlemen looking for a lady, heed my relationship advice. Look for someone whose work you can exploit. That is the key to true happiness. Don't listen to me. Oh my goodness, don't let that's bad advice. Yes, we will still. We're still going. The GoFundMe will help a lot, a lot. But the plan is to be there. We got to be there. We got to be there. So, are you taking Marianne to see Barbie? That's a good question. Does Marianne want to see Barbie? We haven't discussed that. Oh, but I will say this. I did ask her to read certain comic book issues that covered Snake Eyes. I wanted her to be familiar with the story of Snake Eyes. So I selected certain issues. Good evening, Jeff Morris. I selected certain issues of the comic book series, of the Marvel series that covered Snake Eyes, so she'd have a better idea of that story. Because, we still haven't watched the Snake Eyes movie together, and I feel like this is important. I feel like this is a relationship milestone that we will sit down and we'll watch this movie. But I wanted her to have the context, and she was a very good sport. Hello, Mike. This is, if you go to the website HCC788.com and go to the shop button, the shop link at the top, that'll take you to where you can get the t-shirts. And as for the cost, I think it depends on your region, so it'll have it on there. And also, like, I order my own, so but anyway, so yes, the Cobra. We haven't even talked about Cobra Convergence. We've covered a lot of territory. I haven't even talked about Cobra Convergence. We have Cobra Convergence coming up, and that's something that hopefully I can see some of the participants at JOEFEST, because that's been a great way to talk with people, to make connections. Now she's not sure if she wants to watch Snake Eyes, but I just think it's important, at least. There are some things that, even if it's not like something you want to do, it's something you need to do for context, to understand. Sometimes you have to look at things you don't want to see just so that you can understand. That's a good question, Bart. Are you looking for, like, the Cobra Convergence used songs? Because that's on my OnlyFans. I'll send out the link for that for the Cobra Convergence songs. That's a special deal. Special deal. In fact, Bart, for you, discount for Bart. Helmy Coco, yes. So I did the Cobra Commander video last week, and it's been doing pretty well. It's actually got a decent number of views, but people were commenting that it was a helmeted Cobra Commander instead of a hooded Cobra Commander, but that was I had a specific reason. Oh, Mrs. Codename New2Vero2 also attending. Well, that's nice. That's really special. See, this is going to be really cool. So I was thinking, well, if I could change the channel name to Helmeted Cobra Commander 788, and I wouldn't have to change the initials. It'd be exactly the same initials. It'd just be the Helmeted Cobra Commander versus the Hooded Cobra Commander. But then I thought to myself, if you did that, people, instead of calling you Hoodie Coco, would call you Helmy Coco, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that. I'm not sure I'm prepared for that change. So no changes to the channel name at this time, because I don't know that I can process being referred to as Helmy Coco. That'd be a rough one. About how many creators for Cobra Convergence 7? Something around like 33 or 34, I think now. The calendar will go up pretty soon. I wanted to wait. Yes, Hoodie Coco sounds better. Exactly, I agree. Helmy Coco, let's not have that. We got to draw the line somewhere. Helmification. Nay, stay the helmification. Yes, or Steve. Steve is fine. But a Hoodie Coco. Yeah, we got. I'll work on it. Do a Hoodie Coco shirt. That's a good idea. I know I need to do that. But we were talking about Cobra Convergence. The calendar will go up soon. I wanted to leave the calendar open. Long enough to make sure that everybody who wanted to get on it could be on it. And I think we have reached that deadline now. I put out like a signal on the social medias for anyone that I might have missed, anybody I might have forgotten, anybody that I might not have communicated with, that wanted to be in. So, and I got a few replies, and I'm glad that I did, because there are people that I should have talked to, but I missed. That's my fault, entirely my fault. But at some point we need to finalize the roster, and I think we're there. I think everybody has been given an opportunity to get on the calendar if they want to. So the calendar should be pretty well set. And so that will go up in the near future, so we can see, who all will be there and what days there will be. Interviews you thinking of doing? Well, the interviews, I'm going to hold off on going into detail about that, because I want that to be part of the announcement, part of the launch. So I'll hold off on details, but I'm working on additional stuff. I'm working on extra stuff to give you this year, something that will make the event bigger, something that will hopefully give you more of a connection with the creators, and I'm hoping that you really like it. I really do. But I'm working on that. I'm working on it. Codename New2Vero2 has actually been my guinea pig for using StreamYard, so I figured that out. Thank you. And I talked with peg warmers as well on StreamYard, so I'm figuring out how to use this thing, and it's working. It's doing fine. Yeah, what are you worried about? I'm not worried. On the Sparkster, there is a calendar. You just got to make sure that you go through and make sure you pick a date. You can. It's in a pinned post. It's in a pinned post at that place. Anyway, what was I saying? Cobra Convergence, it's coming. I'm working on it. We're doing the best we can. We got logos and T-shirts at least. That's a start, isn't it? That's a start. Hooked them up to the brainwave scanner. Oh yeah, that brainwave scanner gets right to the truth. We asked all the controversial questions too. We got that covered. Timoto says need a Destro retrospective. I probably could do a Destro. The Cobra Commander video has done well enough that it's encouraging me to do more like that. The next one that I would like to do, I'm considering doing Hawk, because even though I recently reviewed Hawk, there's still a lot that I'd like to say about Hawk, about his his leadership philosophy, and the idea that the ends justify the means, which I think fairly describes Hawk's overall view of command. And there are some historical and philosophical references that address that specific question in this context, in fact, in the context of war. And I'd like to talk about that. It's on my mind. It's on my mind. But Destro would be a really good candidate as well. Destro is a fascinating character. He's definitely on the side of the bad guys, right? Cobra CC7 Trivia Night. Destro is definitely on the side of the bad guys. Thank you for being here, Marianne. Thanks. I know you couldn't stay the whole time, but it's always I'm always happy to see you here. I will see you soon, and I will talk to you later tonight. Destro is somebody he's a war profiteer. He has gotten rich off of selling weapons that he knows will be used in war to take lives, sometimes to take the lives of civilians, and he's okay with this. He has a sense of honor that we have seen. He has principles that he sticks with. He has principles. But I think it would be interesting to explore how someone with principles can allow themselves to do something that they know, not only allow themselves to do something that they know is evil, but to justify it, to profit from it, and to positively believe that it's a good thing. So, yeah, we need a Robo Joe documentary. Yeah, that'll be a short one. Yeah, sure. I'll tell you what. As soon as the Patreon reaches 500 patrons, I will do the Robo Joe documentary. Robo Joe documentary as soon as the Patreon hits 500 members. Let's get that started. He's a pimp daddy, yeah. That's actually, we could explore that. I did explore that a little bit. I mean, because it's something that the whole pimp daddy Destro thing. It's something that Arthur Burghart, the voice of Destro in the animated series, he doesn't like that. He is not favorable to the whole pimp daddy Destro thing, which is, from his perspective, is understandable. That would give me an opportunity, though, to talk about Arthur Burghart, because that dude has had a really interesting life. That dude has had a really, really interesting life. No copyright strike risk on Robo. Yeah, that's true. That's at least much less likely. Much less likely. Yeah, it is true though that I'm getting no revenue from the Cobra Commander video, even though it's doing really well. Hasbro has claimed the intellectual property. I talked about last week that I chose not to challenge it, but because I just thought it would be a hassle, and I thought that it would take too long. But at this point, the thing kind of has legs, and I kind of wish I had gone ahead and challenged it. So I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about going ahead and issuing a challenge to the copyright claim. I'm thinking about it. I haven't decided yet. I could blur certain areas of the video that are claimed, but depending on how much that is, that could be too much of the video that's blurred for copyright purposes. I don't know. I'll think about it. JLS says I should challenge it. I'm thinking about it. I had initially decided to not to, but I'm considering it. Family ties between, yeah, that's a good point. There is a family tie, at least in the animated series, between Destro and Lady J. That is something that I've not brought that up very often. I'm not the greatest connoisseur of the animated series, but that is a peculiar connection that they made in the animated series. Yeah, well, if only there was an attorney that could. Yeah, I mean, I do know something of the legal side of copyright and the claim that was issued. But because of that, I also know how much of a hassle it can be, and I just don't know. I just don't know if I'm willing to go through the hassle. But maybe I should anyway. I'll give you an update next week, next live stream. I'll give you an update if I've changed my mind and decided to challenge these copyright claims on the videos. I feel like my use of the property was pretty squarely in the fair use statute. I feel pretty good about it, but I'll think about it. But I tell you what I'll think about right now. I wanted to open a couple things. We got a little bit of time left. We've got Gung Ho here, and we've got Duke here. And I want to go ahead and open Duke before opening Gung Ho, because I went through the trouble of getting my vintage Duke out to do a compare and contrast. And this is the one with, hold on. This is the one with with the flag sticker. So he's got the flag sticker. That flag sticker was a pain in the butt to collect, so I'm just glad to have one. I'm happy to have one. Yes, I'll take him to Judge Judy. She'll know what to do. But I wanted to do a compare and contrast with this new sent by Diosoth O-Ring Duke. Rolling back just a little bit to the idea of doing a video about Hawk and then maybe about Destro as well. Hawk, I think, is the more interesting. I don't know that I could get that much material out of Duke, despite Duke being widely used in the animated series in particular, less so used in the comic book. He was in the comic book and even had some good moments in the comic book, but far less than the animated series. But despite that, I just don't think there's like I would want to make a video not just because the character is popular, but because there's something to say about him. And I just don't think there's as much to say about Duke as there is about Hawk. I think there's more to say about Hawk, even though arguably, like, he he didn't show up in the animated series until 86. And in the comic book series, he was prominent early on. But then there was a gap, right, and Duke was featured more. But then he came back. So, like, there was a period where Hawk wasn't in the comic book series either. But for the time that he was there, we were able to see some of his decision-making, some of his, I don't know, his moral approach to command in a war situation. That's something I'd really like to talk about. That's something that I've touched on a little bit in the reviews of Hawk, but I'd like to expound upon it, because I think there are two easy answers to that, right? Because one easy answer would be to say that, well, Hawk does these things that are underhanded and immoral, so he's got to be bad. And certainly some of these things that he does, they are bad. The other conclusion you could reach is that, yes, he does bad things, but he's doing them for a good purpose. And then sometimes, whatever metaphor you want to use, you have to crack some eggs to make an omelet, what have you. So those are like the easy answers, but I don't think it's quite that easy. And when you look at examples from history of, I don't know, military decision-making, strategic and tactical decision-making, I just don't think it's that simple. And so I'd like to look at that, and I think that we a wife. What, somebody said something about a wife. I'm not married. Duke's wife. I don't know. But yeah, that's it's something that I would like to I'd like to look at, because I think there's some meat there. And I think that we can reach a conclusion. Then I just realized this is G.I. Joeberg. Hello, G.I. Joeberg. Nice to see you. I saw your name there, and I just kept on talking. Hi, thanks for being here. Yeah, I don't think that it's worth Machiavellian. That's a good word for it. I don't think that it's worth doing a video just to point out the ambiguity. If we can't say something about it, if we may not be able to reach a conclusion with 100% certainty, but we should at least be able to have some clarity and some reach some conclusion about it, even if it's not a very satisfying one. So I would only do it if I could do more than just point out the ambiguity. Well, thank you, Joeberg. I'm glad, even if you just lurk, I'm still glad that you're here. That's the I know what you're talking about. And that does add a little bit of interest to Duke, but not in the way that I think that I could expand on and make a full video out of. But Hawk has given us some material to work with. Hawk has shown us how he makes decisions, and we can say something about that. So I was thinking today about some specific examples that I might pull out to help us illustrate and understand Hawk's thinking, and where it might be good and where it might not be so good. Yeah, yeah. Gray Fox. Tune in 9 years from now for the next one. That was really, that was really difficult to put together. It was really, really difficult. I did put that whole thing together in a week, and I will just steam was coming off of my head. It was that was a challenge, but I did enjoy it. It was refreshing to do something other than a toy review, but to talk in more depth about something than I'm able to do in a toy review. So I did shoots hot fudge from his flamethrower. Ice cream soldier. Look, I'll tell you, here's a dirty secret. Because I'm a dirty person, I don't actually have an ice cream soldier anymore. I sent my one and only ice cream soldier figure to Timmer because I wanted to torture him with as much orange as I could. So that box that I sent Timmer a couple years ago that had all of the orange things in it, I was looking at the ice cream soldier and I'm like, that's the only one I got, but I've already reviewed it. So, boom, it's going to Timmer. So yes, just for the purpose of burning out Timmer's retinas just a little bit more, just to cause his eyeballs to smoke at viewing more bright orange, I sent him my only ice cream soldier. Yes, dirty hoodie. Needs to be laundered. Needs tied with bleach to get all the dirty off. I don't normally do that. Usually I keep things, I rarely give away or sell the last of any figure or vehicle that I have. And sometimes I like to keep multiples because I've run into situations where I had only one example, but it broke or it lost something. Something got lost, and then I have 0 complete ones. So sometimes I'll even keep a couple of them just to be on the safe side. And even if we could do a documentary on DEF. There's a lot there. That's a lot. Yeah, just to be on the safe side, sometimes keeping a couple extra is a good idea. Even when I have already reviewed something, I still try to hang on to it because I've had to use those toys, those figures as references. So getting rid of it, selling it, because I think I don't need it anymore, often I do end up needing it. So for me, it's been better to just hang on to them. But in this situation, to troll Timmer, I felt it was worth it. Will I obtain Ultimate Stalker? Maybe. Talk about Super 7 Ultimates. Maybe. The Super 7 figures are pricey, and right now, I would like to get to JOEFEST and not be broke by the end of it. So, Ultimate Stalker will have to wait. A documentary of Stalker that's at least there's something also there. Stalker also gives us something to work with. So at least that's something that we could we could get something out of it. So yeah, I'm not going to do hour-long documentary style videos on every character because some of them just don't have that much. Some of them just don't have that. Sparkster maybe just did send Timmer my Lego ferret since it was built for alley vipers. And it's orange. Wow. He would love it. More ice cream vipers. But I do a little bit regret it because there will be a time, there will be a time when I will need the ice cream soldier for a reference for something, and then I won't have it. So there you go. Dreadnoks, there's enough there with the Dreadnoks. There's probably enough there with Snake Eyes, and Storm Shadow. Definitely Destro, maybe the Baroness as well. With Duke, man, I can't think of enough that I would want to say about Duke that I wouldn't be able to say in a review. And it doesn't have anything to do with liking or disliking Duke any more than anyone else. It's just that I've got to have something to say about it. So yeah, well, those are things to consider. When I do it, you will be surprised. I will not announce it. It'll just happen. You will suddenly have an hour-long video in your feed, but that will not be soon because I'm tired. I'm a tired person. So I'm going to go ahead and open this Duke. Well, we still have a few minutes. I was going to go a little bit late, since What's on Joe Mind is on hiatus for the evening. Documentary on the Iron Grenadiers. I think that's something that I would cover in a documentary about Destro, because the Iron Grenadiers represent something. I think the Iron Grenadiers represent a change in Destro, because I mean, first of all, he did have this private army. He did have these guys working for him before the Iron Grenadiers. In fact, like in the comic book, his Scottish soldiers put on Iron Grenadiers uniforms, and that's where they come from. But it's more than that. I think the Iron Grenadiers represent Destro moving from just supporting Cobra or other troublemakers in the world to actually being a force on his own, to actually being an active participant. Not just selling the weapons, not just leading other troops, because Cobra troops are other troops. They're not his troops. Yeah, it's like if the guy that runs your comic shop, your local comic shop, decides to himself do a comic book. It's different, right? You're going from selling the comics to actually participating in the thing that you're dealing with. Yeah, I think the Iron Grenadiers represent a shift, a change with Destro. And I think it could be interesting to talk about why the change. Why would he go from simply supplying weapons and sometimes personally participating in conflict to being a full participant, being his own party in the conflict. But here's another thing. Here's another trick about it. I don't want to just speculate, right? Because I can sit here and I can interpret things any way I want, and maybe the interpretation makes sense, but maybe the interpretation is not supported by the actual text. And what I tried to do with Cobra Commander is not just say whatever I wanted to say about him, but I wanted to say something about him as he appeared, as he actually appeared in the cartoon and the comic book series. I wanted to actually analyze that rather than, project my own thoughts on it. I wanted to, that's why I had all the references. That's why I got dinged on the copyright, because I needed all of the references to illustrate what I was talking about. So as far as Destro, I think like we can unpack a bit his personality, his sense of honor, his code of ethics. I think we absolutely can. But I want to make sure to not overextend and add something that's not really there. So I would need to give it some... Thanks, cat. The cat's over here knocking things down. I would need to give it some thought, but also some research. I mean, it all starts with going back and reading the stuff and watching the stuff and trying to just see what's there. Sorry, I have been neglecting the live chat. I apologize. As soon as I start soliloquizing, I lose my ability to read. Gold Destro. That's the Iron Grenadier Destro. We'd have to talk about Iron Grenadiers. That's part of his story. But for the moment, here is the modern retro O-ring Duke. And let me pull out the version 1. So we can look at them side by side. Obviously, the colors are drastically different. And I was just trying to look at the sculpt. One thing I can say immediately about the sculpt, I don't know if you can see it like on the back, is that the details on the new one are softer. They're not quite as sharp as the vintage. Like I'm looking at the sleeves, and those sleeve details, like the folded rolled up sleeves, that's a softer detail than on the vintage. And yeah, I'd say that goes for around the front too. You can see it, but it's not quite as sharp. The one thing that is sharper on the new one is like the hair detail. The hair detail on the new one has got, well, more lines than the vintage. The face, so they did get the grin and the painted teeth, but I like I mean it's changed. It's a little bit different than the vintage, and I like the vintage better. The grin on the modern one just doesn't quite look as natural. But I mean, we've got obviously there's no American flag sticker on the new one, but what it does have is a paint application on the epaulets to mimic what was here, to mimic what was what the way the character looked in the animated series. And in fact, the colors are meant to be more reminiscent of the animated series as well, and I think that's fine. Even though I'm not as big a fan of the animated series, I do still want people who are fans of the animated series to have toys that reflect that part of G.I. Joe. It's still part of the line. It's part of the brand. So I wouldn't want that neglected. It's just not my favorite part of the brand. But we've got much darker legs. That's a much darker green than the classic light green. This light green plastic on the vintage figure, very fragile, which is why I'm putting it back in its protective case right now, because it makes me nervous to have it out, especially with a cat around here. I can see that it's almost 8 o'clock my time. I'll go a few minutes later, since What's on Joe Mind isn't streaming tonight, but not too much later. I am tired and I still have stuff to do. I did also want to add the helmet. So he has a helmet. It is like the classic style helmet. That's interesting. So check this out. The color is pretty close to the legs on the helmet. The color is kind of similar to some helmets that came in Battlefield accessory packs. Not so much close. This does not look like the color of the dark green helmets on the 82 guys. It's a different shade of green. It's closer to accessory pack helmets, but it's a matte finish. Check that out. It's not a glossy finish on that plastic. It's a matte finish. And I think I like that. One thing that I don't talk about it often because it's just so ubiquitous. It seems hardly worth mentioning, hardly worth bringing up. But I would like to have seen more matte finishes on vintage figures. Almost everything is glossy, and it's hard to complain about that because on a display it looks nice, right? They gleam and glisten in the light on a display. But it makes them look more toy-like. Well, I mean, they are toys, so that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm just saying, like, more matte finish rather than glossy would change the complexion of a lot of figures. And that's one thing that I do like about this. I do like this. It's color of Michael's helmet. So yeah, see, it's a nice color. It is a nice color. It's the yellow shirt. I mean, that's not khaki. That's yellow. Again, it's more like the animated series. It's fine. It's fine. But that helmet is not bad. And really, the trousers, the legs, I don't mind the darker green either. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. He does come with a reissue of Snow Job's laser rifle. This is the one that the vintage figure was originally going to come with. It ended up coming with a recolored version of Stalker's submachine gun. Are these hands flexible? Because this doesn't want to go in the hand. I'm not going to force it. But this doesn't want to go in. I'm not going to break the thumbs. Okay, I'm not going to break the thumbs. But he comes with just the two accessories, just the helmet and the laser rifle. In the card art, he's kind of holding the laser rifle. Oh yeah, okay, I can do that. This we can do. He can hold the laser rifle kind of the way he's holding it in the card art. He can sort of hold it that way. But the grip on the rifle is thick, and I do not want to break the figure's thumb. Terrence says he likes the vintage Duke better. Me too. Absolutely me too. Let me break this guy out again. Oh yeah, and his bandolier is like brown instead of green. That's interesting. But like the colors on the vintage one are just more subtle, less yellow. That is a mustard yellow. That's a 70s shag carpet yellow. Whereas this, I mean, this is obviously just more tasteful, with this khaki shirt and I do like the light green. I wish the light green plastic wasn't so fragile. You run into a lot of Dukes with busted crotches, unfortunately. But I do like the light green. And the brown boots. I'm just saying I don't dislike the dark green. I don't mind it at all. And I don't dislike the dark green helmet either. I got no problem with that. And I like that matte. I like the matte green rather than glossy. I just like it. That's not bad. So that is, now this is something interesting. Hold on. Let me check one thing. Yeah, this is something, hold on, let me take a closer look at this. Yeah, okay, there's something a bit different about this modern helmet versus the vintage. The modern helmet does not have the molding seam down the center like the vintage one does. That's interesting. So they had to have used a different process or just molded it in a different way. But even though those are the same shape, they're actually constructed a little differently. That's interesting. Now I'm curious. I'm quite curious about the process that they used to produce it without the seam, where the mold presses together, which you can see on the vintage, but is not there. That's interesting. I think that may only be interesting to me, but it is interesting to me. I'm curious. So anyway, so it is. It's about 5 minutes after 8 here, and I'm starting to wear down. I'm getting tired, so I think now is a good time to wrap things up. Again, condolences to what's on Joe Mind. Hope everybody is well, and I hope you all come back soon. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Don't forget the things that we talked about. Timur, Half the Battle, new episode about Keel Hall. Articulated Chad, I will be live on Sunday. Link is down below. JOEFEST GoFundMe, totally voluntary. But if you feel like it, it's there. Link is also in the description. JOEFEST, August 9th through 11th. I will be there with Marianne. She will be fully clothed on camera. Okay. Yeah, I did forget. We'll have to get to this next time. We'll get to this next time. I'm just too tired to do this now. I've been going for more than an hour now, so I'm going to wrap it up. But I will catch you a little bit later. Sorry, and again, I apologize. Once I start yammering about stuff, I lose track of the live chat. My apologies, but thank you all for being here. I hope you will join again next Tuesday for the live stream. I am working on the next review video. I'm making progress on it. So, no guarantees about Ginger. Ginger is, how she is. But I am working on the next review video. It's written, at least. I've done the writing, and I'm pretty satisfied with the writing, so I need to actually set aside time to shoot it, which I should do tomorrow. So, progress on that, and hopefully, if you are a patron, knock on wood, you will get early access. I'm working on it. So anyway, good night, everyone. I will see you next week, and until then, I will see you next week. Bye, everybody. Goodbye.